It doesn't allow me just now, Ken.
Okay, I did it already. Okay, so we start
Okay.
our session. Hi everyone. So sorry, cannot regards every one of you one by one. I'm Lydia, and before we start, it's my honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for this session, Captain Dr. Shan Moorthi. So let us give him a big applause. Okay, so with an impressive career spanning over 25 years, Captain Dr. Shan is dedicated in empowering individuals and organizations to achieve their fullest potential. As the CEO and founder of Teamcoach International, a renowned learning and development solution provider, Captain Dr. Shan has brought his innovative and impactful learning solution to audience around the world, having facilitated workshop and learning session in over 15 countries. Wow, that's amazing, right? Captain Dr. Shan's commitment to excellence is evident through his collaborative partnership with clients, designing customized talent and competency development initiatives that drive success. His expertise and passion for developing and mentoring others have made him a leading figure in the coaching industry. He's also an accomplished author, having the book Coaching with Respect, which I will have it later, and also Coaching and the 5 A's, which offer valuable insight into effective coaching methodologies and principles. And beside of this, Captain Shan also holds numerous prestigious certification, including International Learning Facilitator, Certified Professional Master Facilitator by the International Association of Facilitators, Certified Coach by the International Association of Coaching, and Certified Team Coach by the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. Adding to his impressive credential, Captain Dr. Shan served as the Global President of the International Association of Coaching, further solidifying his influence and leadership in the coaching field. So now, please join me in welcoming Captain Dr. Shan Moorthi as he shares with us his wealth of knowledge and experience with us tonight. So let us give him a big applause. Pass the time to you, Captain Dr. Shan.
Thank you, Lydia, and
welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm calling now from Kuching. Greetings from Kuching, Sarawak. I had a 2 days workshop here, and I'm calling from Kuching. So, thank you for joining in. And when I was, was first asked, Dr. Michael was asking me, and I said yes, I would love to share with the coaching community. And I think MACC has been doing a fantastic job. With Dr. Mike's leadership, and and the thing is about coaching is that you can't run away. You talk about competencies, and in the IAC we call them the masteries. You can't run away from the fundamentals. And I've been exposed to so many different competencies and all that. It is almost the same. So today, what I would like to share is about the IAC masteries. And as you all know, the founder of IAC is also the founder of ICF. He founded ICF first, So ICF is the big brother, and then the IAC. And the masteries was written by coaches from all around the world, and taking very much into account the cultural nuances from every region. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to share. And later I will also share about the way of being as a coach that has helped me. Yeah. I just don't want to share what I know, because most of you all here are senior coaches. You probably know more than me. I'm going to share with you what I've done. Yeah, what I've done. And through my research, and some of you all would know that, my doctoral research, my PhD was in coaching. So I went quite deep into really understanding the historical background and how all this came about and all that. So I came to realize that, coaching is something that is an amazing tool. It's here to stay. In fact, is the fastest growing industry after IT. Yeah. And during COVID, we were doing a lot of research during COVID as well. And, it was really, really growing. But at the same time, during COVID, there were a lot of life coaches coming out, mushrooming. Just because someone loved to talk to them, they became life coaches. And one of my partners in Thailand hates coaching because one of our best friends committed suicide after a coaching session. And I said, wow, because people are really, really, some people claiming themselves to be coaches, but it's sad that they have to, you know, what I said, not being congruent in the field of coaches. And I think that just like to share, and some of you would have been involved. We also had we had facilitated conversation, focused conversation with all the coaching industry people, with the HRDC, and then we want to make sure that coaches in the future, God willing, it will come out soon, that we're able to claim under HRDC, and we want to make sure they come from the right school of coaching. Yeah. So as we go, I will going to share my slides now. And if you see my head turning, I don't memorize all the masteries, so I'll be looking at some of the notes that I've made, my personal notes, to share my experience as well. And please stop me anytime to ask me questions. Yeah, to ask me questions. Yeah. So let me share my slides. Okay. Okay. The way being of a coach. Okay. So the session outcomes, what I intend to achieve is to explain each mastery, not in detail and overall. And as ICF coaches, you would probably like to reflect on your own competencies as well. And I think ICF recently has also, I think from 11 went to 8. My first coaching certification was based on the ICF competencies. And I think recently the ICF reduced the competency as well. So as we go along, maybe you can also reflect with the ICF competencies. And as I said earlier, at the end of the day, there's not much difference. Yeah. And observe the application. And I'm going to talk about distinction. I love learning through distinctions, different words, what it means, and then explain the 7 C's, the way of being as a coach. So let's move forward. Okay, let's do this. Chang, maybe you can do this for me. Let's do this and see why coaches fail. Right, Chang, if you can share your slide, yeah? If you can just use this Mentimeter.
Okay, I will first put this link in the chat, and then I will also share the slide in a short while. Okay, you may click on the link and then select based on the question asked. Okay, meanwhile, I share the screen.
Hey, hi, Victor.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Shan. Good to see you again.
Hey.
Yes, you can. Yes, the response is coming in. You can either scan the QR code here, or you can click on the link in the chat box. We have 6 responses already, 7, 8. We have like 20 here. We have 8 responses at the moment.
So just give another 30 seconds, Chang, yeah?
Yeah, sure. I suppose we should have more responses coming in.
Yeah, there's 9 so far. Okay, I think that, people are still coming in. Okay, great.
Yeah. Right. I think that's about it, Captain.
Okay, all right. So you can have a screenshot. So you can look here. So 73%, all of us are saying 73% coaches fail because of attitude. Nothing to do with knowledge, not much of knowledge and skills. Yes, we require skills and knowledge, but attitude is the main reason why coaches fail. And what do you mean by coaches failing? What does that mean? Okay, Chang, thanks for sharing.
Right. Thank you, Cap.
Thank you. So when we say why coaches fail, meaning that they're not doing justice to the profession. Yeah, they're not doing justice to the profession. And I'm sure some of y'all would have heard nightmares after people go through the coaching process. So on average, I've been, doing this, and on average, 65%, people say attitude is the reason, 65% why coaches fail. So when we talk about coaching education, coaching, developing coaches, and developing ourselves, then we have to look at the attitude part. And the ICF competencies and also the masteries actually do talk about the attitude side of it, if we want to really interpret it, at a deeper level, right? So let me continue with. Any questions so far? Are we good? Okay. So in virtual sessions, normally if I ask if there's any questions, I'll wait for about 5 seconds, yeah? And then if there's no questions, then I will continue, okay? So this is the overview of the masteries. It's developed by International Team of Coaches. Understood any culture of the world to advance coaching to the highest standard. And currently, we have got in a few languages. And by this end of, not end of this year, maybe another 2 more months, we will have the whole IAC masteries translated into Bahasa Malaysia. That's one of the things that we have been working with right now with some of our translators as well. Yeah. So this snapshot of the masteries: maintaining trust, expanding clients' potential, listening, processing in the present, expressing, clarifying, helping client set clear intention, inviting possibility, and provide supportive systems. Now, especially when we talk about supportive system, there's a thin line. We always say that coaches, we do not tell what to do. We do not share. We do not advise. So what does it mean by giving supportive systems? All right. So create the support system, helping them. So we will come to that. So here, the definition itself, let me, sorry. Yes. Okay. It's about ensuring a safe space. And you know that you have created or established the relationship of trust when the client is actually open to sharing. And they feel, that you're walking by their side, and you are their advocate. And they see that the growth is manageable and the results, the results and whatever they're expecting and all that from coaching, you are always there. And the distinction, I would like to look at the distinction. There are a few things here about the distinction, yeah? I mean, of course, the key elements, you can see it on the slide. Collaborative versus cooperative. Yeah? What it means here, cooperative means it's like I'm putting up. I will cooperate with you. But collaborative means I'm there. The mutual trust and respect is there. I'm there with you. The other distinction is acceptance and support versus tolerance. Tolerance, yeah, I will tolerate, but I might not agree with you completely. But here, the coach's role is to accept and support. Yeah, accept and support the client. And you got confidence and overbearing. If we are, trained coaches and all that, we are confident with our process. We are the custodian of the enabling process. But sometimes coaches can be overbearing as well. They have this, they put on the professional mask, I call it. Yeah, they put on the professional mask because I am the coach. It doesn't work. And especially, when they respect you as the coach and suddenly we wear this professional mask and we are a different person suddenly when we are coaching. Our language changes, more Gaia language, all the, we talk about any international participants here? Victor understands Bahasa Malaysia, so it's okay. Anybody else? We all Malaysians, yeah. So sometimes I use, I'll use Bahasa also, yeah. So overbearing can be people pretending, not pretending not to be themselves. And coaching, I always say, coaching, whenever when you coach, the language is bahasa sembang. Like we are talking in a coffee shop. It's a conversational language. We don't have to suddenly use all these big words when we are coaching. And language should not be a barrier, right? So in all these 15 countries, wherever I go, they will be using their own dialects. Something even in Malaysia, I'll say that use your own dialects. Because it has to be conversational and the conversation has to be meaningful. Don't be too overbearing. Oops. The second masteries is about expanding the client's potential. Being empathetic with the client, because sometimes we try to push the client, but let's empathize as well. And this comes with compassion. Compassion is, is empathy in action, right? Right. And also recognizing it's a lot of possibilities as we are sharing with the client, as we are coaching with the client, we need to recognize there's a wide range of possibilities. And sometimes we need to be careful. The small voices in our head might tell us, oh, the coachee can actually come up with more ideas and all that. Failing to realize it's not our agenda at all. It's all about the coachee. Yeah. So encouraging, empowering the client and challenging their limiting beliefs. Right. So some of the distinctions here is believing in the client, but not judging. Sometimes the client will say, a young coachee might say that, oh, you know what, Shan, I want to be a CEO in 3 years time, and he's probably about 20 plus. And then, if I start judging, oh my God, you're just 23. How come you become a CEO of this huge company? But you'll never know. He might be just a grandson of the founder. Rather than just, judging them in the first place, but believe that they can do it. Because when we believe that the other person can do it, the whole conversation will go into a different, will take a different tone. Yeah. And the second one is enabling them, not pushing. When we push, it's our agenda. We enable them through, because we are the custodian of the process, we enable them so that because they know their strengths, they know their resources. Of course, sometimes they will have this limiting belief that we can challenge. Yeah. But enable rather than pushing them. And the other one is that expanding and stretch. When we want to stretch, then it becomes our agenda. But when we take small steps, expanding their potential, then it's their agenda, step by step. Right? Because some mistakes that I have done in the past is stretching the coachee. Because I believe that, oh, you can do better than this. You can do better than this. But that's my perception. failing to understand where the coach is. Those are some of the mistakes that I've made in the past. So now I'm very careful so that, small steps forward is more important than taking a big step. Right? Hold on. Okay. And engaged listening, and this is something that we all know by heart, right? As a coach, this is what we need to do, and we need to actually listen, and the effect is, see, when we engage listening, the responses of listening is like paraphrasing, summarizing, and what else? Paraphrasing, you summarize, and these are the responses when we listen to our coachee, and they feel understood. And they can sense that my coach is really listening, and they feel understood and validated as well. Yeah. And in validation, also, we need to be careful. Sometimes we say things like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, you have got good ideas. I would suggest that not to use those kind of statements, because the minute you say that, oh, that's a wonderful idea, what happens is that the coachee might not want to think more, because my coach already said it's a great idea. So in validating, we need to be a little bit careful. And the best form of validation is getting the coachee to validate themselves. And how we do that is by asking them, what are the things they have done well before? Some of the success stories. So sometimes we take for granted, we sometimes only look at our own things that we are not good at, the thoughts, negative thoughts. There's a New Science Foundation research that shows that there are 60,000 thoughts per day, and 80% is negative. We take ourselves for granted. We don't look at things that are positive, that we are good at. So if we can trigger the coachee to reflect on the strengths that they have. And as you all know, coaching is not for problems, right? That might have challenges on the way, but coaching is more to make the person a better version of themselves, right? To move forward. And of course, the effect of us listening, and they can feel it, is the client communicates more effortlessly and resourcefully. And let's look at, some of the key elements. You can have a look at it, yeah?
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I am Josephine.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I come from ICF School of Coaching. It's more of term of reference that is my issue. I need to have a term of reference to refer back on. So these coaching masteries, I think you have how many? Like 7 or 8 of them. Are they equivalent to ICF core competencies, or are they tools and techniques to mastery coaching?
Okay. The ICF, I think I mentioned earlier, my first certification was with the ICF competencies. ICF called them competencies, whereas the IAC, we call them the masteries. So when we
okay, so they are the competencies, skill set. So, that means the coaches will be evaluated based on these masteries.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
When you go for certification, when you send your recording, they will be looking at how well you demonstrate these masteries in your coaching recording. Yeah. So as I said earlier in the beginning, ICF calls it the competencies. We are calling it the masteries. Yeah. And I said, if you really look at it, there's not much of a difference. And distinction, Josephine, is that right? Are you okay with that? Josephine?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So distinction, listen for and listen to. Listen for what the coachee is really saying. Listen for the nuances behind what they're saying, the story behind the story, compared to listen to what you want to listen to, right? And being aware versus preempting. Sometimes the questions, is somewhat a bit related to leading as well, right? So it's better for us to elicit wisdom from them, because we believe in coaching that the coachee has got all the wisdom. It's our role to unleash that potential, bring that out, and not to lead them into something. Because it's very careful, especially if we are subject matter experts, and then we are coaching a person in the area that we are our expertise, we can easily fall into judging. We can easily fall into leading them. Yeah, and especially I've seen if we are trainers in the content delivery area, if you're an experienced trainer, we can also fall into that trap. Yeah, so we become more directive rather than enabling. So feeling understood and not judged. The task of leadership is not to put greatness into people, but to elicit it, for the greatness is already there. Okay, is some of the quotes I like. Yeah. So when you come to the next master, is processing in the present. I believe that emotions travel faster than words. When you're fully present in front of the coachee can feel that you're there. And by the way, my dear coaches, all these masteries, they're connected to each other. It's not like, it's by itself, no. Yeah, like for example, listening will, if you're attentive listening, it'll open the door for processing in the present. All these are connected. It is not in isolation, or it's not in linear form. They're all connected to each other. Yeah. So the effect here, they're free to express. The client is unencumbered by past or future preoccupation or concerns. That means what's happening here and now, not about the past, not about the previous coaching session. It's about in this coaching session, it's in here and now. And the client benefits from coaching insight and support at all levels. Yeah. So the way we process in the present is that when we focus, yeah, like as the definition says, the coach utilizes what's happening in the session itself. The behavior, the patterns, the emotion, the relationship between the coach and the client, right? But, I also sometimes I struggle with this, where some coaches say that we need to really, really look at the body language. And then we can interpret it. And sometimes I believe, this maybe we can agree to disagree, right? So I have trained about maybe more than 40 visually impaired coaches who are blind, from Society of Blind Malaysia and St. Nicholas in Penang. And in some of our public program, we have got visually impaired people attending the program as well. Amazing. Their processing in the present is amazing. Their focus, their listening and all that. So this is where sometimes I question myself, if we start observing body language too much, are we going to judge the person in front of us? Whereas the visually impaired, that's a great coaches, they don't have to look at the body language. I have got one person who's actually is a top examiner in IAC. He also examines ICF coaches as well. And he tells me that, when he coaches, he just stares at the blank wall. He doesn't even have a video on. It's just through audio. He said that if I have a video on, or when I do face-to-face coaching, it's a distraction. So there are different school of thoughts and different way, but I believe let's focus on what works for you and the client, right? And for me is I really don't pay too much attention to body language, because body language is also has got cultural nuances as well. And sometimes if the person is cross arm, is not because they are not open, but just because the air condition is too cold, and suddenly see, wow, this person so closed. No lah, the other side aircon very cool. Yeah, but I think that if we are processing in the present at the level of body, mind, and spirit, right, we can help the client to express more. And there's some of the key elements, like number 3. Sorry, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Yeah, the coach is able to discern whether the client is communicating from the past, present, or the future. So discerning when you're processing the present. Yeah, and the coach allows the client the opportunity to process his own thoughts and responses. So later I will talk about the 7 C's. And I talk about curiosity. Being curious is really will help us to come out with amazing questions, coaching questions. Yeah. And the distinction, responding from awareness versus conditional reaction. So this is coming from the space of awareness. Yeah. And conditional reaction, let me get the right word, is reacting from the past or sometimes even the future, but not in the present itself. Yeah. So responding for awareness be aware of what's happening here and now versus past or future, and attune versus alert. Be attuned, like for example, right? I'm in the in Pullman Hotel Kuching, and the air conditioning, I can hear the sound of the air conditioning, but I'm not attuned to the air conditioning. It's there, but not attuned to it. All right. So when we are coaching our client, we need to be tuned to the client, not just at the alertness level, because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't contribute to the meaningful conversation that we are planning to have with our coaches. Expressing. So attuning also means connecting, connecting ourselves. And this way, sometimes coaching sessions can fall apart when, I'm sure you heard about when we do not have the chemistry. Yeah, we don't have the chemistry. The coach and coachee doesn't have the chemistry. So the coaching session can fall apart because sometimes we are not tuned. Yeah, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I have experiences where I was one of the panel of coaches for United Nations, and this person was the regional director. He said, "Shan, I got nothing against you, but I want to be coached by a female coach, right?" So and I said, "Yeah, sure. There's nothing wrong with that, right?" And I'm sure all of you all practice that as well. When we start having a coaching assignment at the contracting stage, I would always advise my friends who are in the coaching industry or me myself, have the first session, a pro bono session, to check whether it's okay. Especially in our interaction, okay, is our language okay? Can we connect with each other? And it's okay, right? It's okay if the person said, "No, I think, Shan, I need a person who knows certain languages." That's good. Or I can say that I don't think that we are doing. When I recommend you another person. So that's separate, yeah. And expressing here attention and awareness and how the coach communicates commitment, direction, intent, and ideas, and the effectiveness of this communication. How the person actually expresses, and when we demonstrate these masteries, the effect on the coach is the interaction is enhanced and the client being at ease and trusting, right? And from mastery number 1, we are constantly developing the trust. And the client is open to understanding, questioning any communication from the coach, right? Here only, again, at this expressing stage, we can really feel it, feel the effect, and they know that the trust has been developed between the coach and the coachee. Distinction. I mean, the key elements are there. The distinctions, are we communicating for the client versus to the client? To the client meaning that are we trying to push our agenda? Allowing the how of communication versus the what of communication. How we communicate. How the coach conveys support and encouragement versus using words alone for expressing. So it is like, I've got some notes for myself here. It's about how you communicate it and not what you communicate. It's not just the words. It's how you use the words, yeah? and the language as well. Yeah, and the language as well. And if you look at the key elements, one of the key things here is also respecting different cultures. And now I'm sure some of you are coaching across borders, right? And also understanding the various culture as well. It's important. Yeah. And what happens if I'm coaching someone and I do not know the culture? Well, I believe that it's perfectly okay to ask what are the do and don'ts. What do you think? I asked the coachee during the contracting session, what are the things that might offend you? What are the things that, culturally might offend you, or things that I say that might offend you, just to get that understanding first, and then moving into the coaching session. Yeah. And sometimes we do mistakes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. Yeah. So this is like this. Basic building block of good communication is the feeling that every human is unique of values. We are all unique. We are all created beautifully, wonderfully, with special talent, unique talent. I worked with the visually impaired, part of our CSR program. I worked with the deaf, and this year I'm going to work with wheelchair people. My heart is stirred for wheelchair people. And and these are the things that I totally believe, that every individual, doesn't matter where you are, who you are, in what condition you are special. And our role as a coach, to get the coachee to understand that and to bring that out from them, and to make them feel that they are unique and there's something great inside them which other people can benefit from. Now, come here, just to digress a bit. This is, for me, the difference between vision and purpose. Vision sometimes, I want to be the number one. I want to be the best. I can make you a self-centered person. Purpose is different. Purpose is our existence, right? Because of our existence, how do other people benefit from us? In the army, sometimes we say that, kita dalam dunia ni bukan nak habiskan beras ataupun to occupy space. There must be a reason why we are here. Somebody is benefiting from our existence, right? And that's how, when they suddenly, especially when we are talking about life coaching, even as, and in leadership coaching, when the coach, in my experience, when the coach suddenly feels, wow, now I know how people around me benefit from me, and that gives that purpose, and then the passion comes. Okay, and this is another from Marshall McLuhan. The typewriter is a means of transcribing thought, not expressing it. Okay. Clarifying is continuously being curious. I never take for granted that I understand, or my perception of certain words is the same as my client. If, for example, if Lydia says that, that's great, I will not take for granted what great means for her, and how I interpret great is the same. I will never take for granted. I used to make those mistakes earlier. I thought the words are, the same. And especially when both our mother tongue is not English, we express it differently. We mean different things. So the only way is to continuously being curious. And sometimes, even things like when the client says like, I think I'm good now, I'm clear. But does it really mean they have gained the clarity? And it's our role as coaches, and this mastery number 6 always remind me when I coach. No. I think we need to go deeper and really find out. And when they go into the process of clarity, that will contribute towards their journey to achieve what they want to achieve. Again, here the effect is uncovering the unknown. Sometimes they come in for, let's say, just an example. They come in and say, I've experienced where, coaching coaching a CEO, and the board wanted me to coach him. And then while we coaching first session, okay, second session, yes, about work. But the third session, because by then the trust has developed, the trust and respect between us, we have developed that. And then the person, he told me, Shan, you know what? Can we not talk about work? And I said, boss, it's entirely up to you. I'm here for you. What do you want to talk about? No, I've been focusing so much on my career. And suddenly my son is already a teenager and never realized it. He grew up so fast and we are not communicating well. Can you coach on that, my relationship with my son? I said, absolutely. So suddenly, sometimes while we are coaching, you know, I'm sure all of you will experience this, but the goal change, you know, the desire to achieve something else change. And I think during one of the coaching process, when he suddenly realized that it's not his work that's disturbing him, it's the relationship between him and his son. When that got sorted out, I think it was the fifth coaching session, the second last coaching session, and he seems to be doing very well. I mean, that has been affecting his work. Yeah. Okay. Okay, key elements. Identifying key values, number 3. Identifying blocks to progress is not we identify, getting them to identify blocks. Sometimes it can be going too deep into problem focus. I personally prefer to be solution focused than problem focused, because of you know, there's a lot of research in neuroscience and also in positive psychology that, you know, you focus on the problem is going to expand, and you focus on the solution, you get solutions, right? So I try to be solution focused as much as possible, even when the client is going into it. We are not running away from problems. We are respecting the problem. We're respecting, okay, and let's move forward. And the distinction, it says the sources and symptom, you know, where is this all coming from? And make it as simple as possible. Don't complicate things. Sometimes we complicate things. Not we. I have complicated things because of the kind of language that I use. This was when I first started coaching. Yeah. Discerning versus solve. Try not to solve. Try not to get the person to solve. As we say, don't coach the problem. Don't coach the goal. Coach the person, because the goal might not be the one that they want to achieve. They might tell you that is their goal in the beginning, but you'll be surprised. That's not the exact goal. And when the trust and respect started to grow, the goals might change. What they really want might change. So go into the discerning mode than trying to solve the goal. So we always say that, you know, coach the person, not the goal of the problem. When the subject is strong, simplicity is the only way to treat it. That's why we always say coaching questions should be short and simple. Short and simple. I like this as well. Some problems are so complex that you have to be highly intelligent and well-informed just to be undecided about that. Yeah. This is on clarifying. Okay. Any questions so far?
Captain Shan, I have.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you'll be talking about the intention also. Maybe later you explain too. I want to ask, if let's say halfway of our coaching, and then you can sense that the client or the coachee have wrong motive or wrong intention. So how to stop or move on in a right way, or better way? Yes.
So this, we are talking about ethical principles and ethical values, right? And for me, if I find that anything that what they say and doing is against my personal values, I will stop and explain to them. And if I have to end the session, I will end the session. Because, okay, I'll give you a real story. So with this German coach, the husband is an expat in Malaysia, and she ran into something with the client, and she wanted to talk to, and somebody recommended, why don't you talk to Shan? And we had coffee, and I asked her, yeah, how can I help you? And she said, no, I abruptly stopped my coaching session. after the second coaching session, although we contracted for 6 sessions, I stopped at the second session. I said, what's the reason? And she said that he wanted to improve his relationship with his partner. So she was thinking, you know, with his wife and all that. After the second session and all that, she realized, and I think he mentioned it, it was nothing to do with his wife. It was with his mistress. And I think he said that. And she couldn't take it because she said, no, I can't, because he thought that coaching is coaching, right? But she couldn't. And she asked me, did I do the right thing? I said, I would have done the same thing as well, because it's against values. You know, and some people do say that, you know, oh, Shan, you know, you're just coaching. Why are you bothered? It's not your agenda, it's their agenda. But how can you go into a conversation when whatever the intention is against your values and you still want to continue? What the reason for? Because of the money? And I think you are not being congruent. We are not being authentic. Like, for example, I do ask, can we coach a bank robber who wants to rob a bank? Of course we can. Of course we can. You know, we can think about all the options how we can rob the bank. But the intentions, again, if we sense it, and I think it's good to address it straight away. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. So this is about getting and keeping the clear intention, help the client remain focused. Because sometimes some clients, especially personality-wise, if they're very extroverted, they can go all over the place, you know, but continuously bringing them back into the conversation of what they want to really achieve. And that's why, you know, sometimes some coaches like to summarize for the coachee. I will always say, you don't summarize, get the coachee to summarize. If they're talking a lot. The reason is, when you summarize, you only pick up the points that's important for you, the priority for you, not for the coachee. But when you get the coachee to summarize, they will only remember things that are important for them. And that are the things that we need to work on together. Yeah. And once we begin bringing them back, unless they are changing their goals or what they want to achieve, but bringing them back, getting them to stay focused is important. And you know, the client suddenly will feel, wow, okay, I'm going here. I'm taking the small steps forward. Okay. And the key elements here, even the progress, clarifying the direction of the progress. So we need to be, where are we heading? How are we going here? Where are we going from the, you know, from the time that you said that you want to move forward? Where are we right now? The client will feel that they are progressing. Distinction, transform versus change. Now, when we talk about change, our point of focus is the past. I was like this before, now I am different, right? The focus point is the past. But when we talk about transformation, transform is what we want. The focus is on the future of what we want. This again tells me to be more solution focused, focus on what you want, or get the coachee to focus on what they want rather than what they don't want. And sometimes I heard the coachee talking about their problems and all that. I said, good, I will listen to them, listen. And then I'll ask them one simple question, what do you really want? And they say, oh, Shan, you need to understand my problem. They'll talk again about the problem again and again. And my next question would be, what do you really want? And sometimes they ask me, don't you want to understand my problem? I said, I heard you, but I'm more interested in what do you want to move forward? No, let's move forward. So again, transformation is about looking at what we want moving forward, rather than just talking about the change. I mean, as you know, the old saying, you know, it's butterfly is not a change caterpillar, it's a transform caterpillar. Because whenever the coaching has changed, the probability of the coachee to move backwards is there. Go back is there. But once they talk about transformation, the probability gets lesser for them to go back to the past. And this is about progress and movement. Sometimes our coaches got so much of actions, so much of movement, but no progress. I call this the rocking chair syndrome. You know, the rocking chair has got so much of movement, but not moving anywhere. Right? So we need to see the progress. We need to get the coachee to see for themselves the progress. Inviting possibility, creating an environment that allows ideas, option, opportunity to emerge. Again, let me repeat this. All those masteries all are connected. Yeah, all are connected. And if you look at this, creating an environment, this is very much possible only when we create psychological safety in the space, meaning the coachee is willing to express their thoughts and emotions, how they feel with you, because we have created the trust already. When that's happened, and then the inviting possibility stage becomes great. Sometimes, again, I've done certain mistakes in the past where I really want to have action plan at the end of the coaching session. If the coachee doesn't have action plan, I get worried. Because why? Stuck in the coaching models. The GROW model, the Oscar model, 1,001 models. Now, sometimes when I mentor coaches, I say, you know what? After, like in the IC, once you already mastered the competencies, in the IAC, the masteries, take the GROW model, take the Oscar model, everything, and throw it out of the window. You don't need models. You don't need frameworks. It's your way of being is more important than all those models, because the models become destructive. I have done a simple experiment, giving them a card on the GROW model with sample questions, and then getting them to coach, and then after that, asking them to put aside the cards, and then ask them to coach. You know what? When there's no card or there's no model or no sample questions, they coach better. They coach better. Yeah. So here they're willing to step out into the comfort zone. Again, action. Yeah. It doesn't mean, taking no action is also an action. Making no decision is also a decision. Make sense? Yeah. So sometimes I used to, in early stages of my coaching, I say, oh my God, he has not got, we have got another 10 minutes left, no action plan. It's okay. Now, sometimes 2 sessions just about clarifying what they want, clarifying their goals. What they want, 2 sessions, and I'm perfectly okay. The reason is, look, it's not my agenda, it's their agenda. Of course, when they leave, the thing that my research also shows that the zones, right? You got the comfort zone, you got the fear zone, you got the learning zone, and you got the growth zone, right? And I have found coaching and of course process facilitation are some of the tools that actually can help our coaching to navigate through the fear zone, because that's where all the limiting beliefs comes in. And then they learn, they discover their personal strength. Then they know, they learn where to get the resources, and then the growth happens. And to sustain the growth is important. Not only the growth happens, but to sustain the growth. And and it's our role as the coach to talk about all that. To talk about all that. Yeah. And through our coaching process, they get inspired by themselves. It's not we inspiring them. And I don't believe that anybody can motivate anyone, because the word motivation comes from the word emote, energy that moves you forward. If the energy is within Victor, I can talk until the cows come home for 40 days and 40 nights, nothing will happen. What I can do is to, as a leader, I can create the environment for them to move, to motivate themselves. Yeah. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is my point of view. We can always agree to disagree. Yeah. And this is the look at the identify internal possibilities, personal greatness, higher purpose, external possibilities. And when we talk about the higher purpose, again, here is that asking them how other people will benefit from whatever they are doing. It's not only for themselves. So human beings, I believe, that once they find that, wow, this is how much I'm contributing to another person or one, and they feel fulfilled. And that's where they feel the joy. Not just being happy, but the joy. And here, one of the things is having a beginner's mind as a coach. We need to have a beginner's mind. Like, I don't know anything. Or imposing expertise. Sometimes, again, in the past, I've made mistakes where but the intention is good. Intention is to help. But the thing is, you're not helping the coachee to discover their own. And now it's different. Yeah. Creative versus prescriptive. Right? Get the coaching conversation going so that they can be more creative, get into the space of creativity and innovation, rather than being prescriptive, expansive versus resolution. Don't straight away go into jumping into getting action plan and to solve the problem. It does not work. It can. Suddenly you find that the person has got all the answers and we are happy as a coach. Guess what? It might not be exactly what the coachee wants. So sometimes, again, some of my mistakes in the past is to resolve the solution, resolve the problem for the coachee as soon as possible. And I think I was great. And I was totally wrong, my friends. Totally wrong. It's in their space. When I think that I want to make the coachee solve the problem first, guess what? It's my agenda. Nothing to do with the coachee's agenda. And this is where I impose. Right? So I constantly tell myself, before I ask any questions, or sometimes I ask, is it my agenda or is it I'm helping the coachee to achieve their agenda? So that's the questions, that I continuously ask myself. Mastery number 9. Helping the client identify and build relationships, tools, systems, and structures. The client is confident, secure, and moving forward. Because sometimes, if let's say they say that I want to, oh, Shan, you know what? I think I want to communicate with the other department to get the project moving. There was no specifics in the statement. Who? What can help you? When you meet that person, what are you going to talk? How are you going to talk? What are the things that you're going to ask? So before they leave the coaching session, they already identified what are the structures of support systems that can help them to move forward. Sometimes they might not have the answer. Like, for example, if somebody tells me, oh, Shan, I don't know. Probably my next question would be, who can help you to know? Who can assist you? Or sometimes, you say, oh, I really don't know. And I will ask questions like, suppose you know? Or the ones that I always get them moving is, hey, okay, I tell you what, why don't you pretend that you know? It works all the time. 99% of the time. Especially the person who say, I don't know. The reason why they're saying that, this is my perception, yeah? The reason why they're saying that is because they don't want to commit. If they tell you, they must commit, right? Don't laugh. After that, Shan will someone ask me a question, better say, I don't know. La. So the minute I say, okay, what just for this purpose, right? Pretend you know. Or the other way I ask will be, let's say if I am the one who's asking you advice, what would you tell me? Wow, some people when advising others, very good. Following their own advice, cannot. So these are some of the ways, yeah, that how I create structures and support system. And sometimes we can also say like, I have an experience where the person, really wanted a tool to manage time and all that. So I said, I've seen this tool, I've used it, and I've seen some of my clients using it. Would you like to use it? And try and see whether it works for you. Not imposing, but providing some of the structures. Or sometimes, oh, there's a book that I found that was useful. You may want to check that out. Not imposing. Right? And not also duplicating things. Like, for example, sometimes I've heard stories where the coach really wants to push their personality test or some form of psychometric tool, whereas the coachee has already done psychometric tool. But just because they want to sell their psychometric tool, they push the agenda, which I believe that is wrong. Yeah, that is wrong. So, genuine and these are some of the key elements. The client understands the value of appropriate support system. Yeah. And look at this distinction: supportive, relevant resources versus references. So sources that actually supports them, resources that actually supports them. Complementary versus duplication. If they got something going, don't duplicate. Whatever you are asking them to think about or to evaluate certain structure must be complementary. Enhancing versus overwhelming. Sometimes the coaches, I don't know, I don't know whether you heard. I had this one form of coaching where this client was telling me that, oh, he went through coaching once, but this time the coach wants them to record every day what they do. They must record, they must do this, they must do reflection, they must do reflective journal, all imposing. I said, probably there's a different form of coaching, but not the kind of coaching I am talking about. I don't know whether any one of you experienced or heard about this. So for me, that is very, very directive. Yeah, very, very directive. So enhance, one step forward, not overwhelm them. Yeah, overwhelming, sometimes it might be our intention, good intention, but I don't think that will support the coaching. All right. So I've covered the nine masteries. This is about sustainable progress by Lao Tzu. But the effective leader is finished with his work. The people say it happened naturally. It's not, really the coach taking the credit, but the coachee feels it's all about them. It went on smoothly. It went on naturally. Yeah. So I've covered the nine IIC masteries. As I said, you can really map it with the ICF competencies as well, right? So all this is about, when we talk about the masteries, it's also about the being part. It's not just the doing part, it's the being part of a coach. Yeah. So one of the things that I was looking at, when I was doing some research and study, and now I looked at myself and I said that what helped me to be a good coach? Am I successful? I will not claim that I'm successful, because I'm still learning. I'm still my journey. Yeah. My success means if my client is successful, then I'm successful, right? But I'm still learning. That's one of the reasons I went and did my PhD in coaching, because I want to go deep and research what coaching is all about, where it's coming with so many schools with so many different approaches, right? So anyway, that gave me an idea, or that actually told me how much I did not know as well. All right. So I'm still continuously learning. All right. And then I asked myself, what are the things that really, really helped me? So I looked at the 7 C's. How are we for time, Lydia? I'm not checking time.
We still have about 14 minutes.
Okay,
If you
good.
still have something to share. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the way of being as coach, the way of being as a coach. And what's the meaning of way of being? It's the character of frequently doing something. I call it living it. Living. For me, living the masteries. Yeah. So for me, the way of being, I've got 7 C's. Just for the fun, it is also adapted from my one of the books that I'm writing right now, Leading with Purpose and Passion and Facilitative Leadership. And these are the 7 C's. Clarity of purpose, congruence, compassion, courage, creative, curious, credible. Just a quick one, just to go through the clarity of purpose here. How my client will benefit from my role as a facilitator or a coach. Reminding myself that I'm serving them for their purpose, and it is nothing about me, but it's solely for my client's purpose and agenda. This 7 C's is something I looked at it and I said, okay, these are the ones that have been helping me to serve my client better, right? So that's how I've coined the 7 C's. Being congruent is all about being honest with myself and committing to doing what I tell others to do, as well as acting in a manner consistent to my values, right? It is about being genuine and authentic, no putting on a professional mask. I cannot be sengit. Okay, let me explain where this word sengit comes from. I was conducting a program in Bangkok for the US Embassy, and it was on leadership. And one of the things I said that, I really respect the Western world coming up with a lot of management and leadership terminologies. So can I share a terminology from Malaysia in my own language? And they say, yes, Shan, please carry on. And I said the word is sengit. And they asked me, what is sengit? I said, if the car in Malaysia, if the car is not aligned, we call kereta itu sengit. So congruence, and what it means, our thoughts, our intentions, and our behavior must be aligned. Kalau fikir A, niat B, buat C, sengit lah nama. Yeah. So as a coach, we must not be sengit. An example would be, okay, good. After this, is he going to sign on with me for another few more coaching sessions? Oh, he just contracted me for 3 sessions. So I better do it properly so that he'll sign up for another 3 sessions. That one is saying it already. Yeah, your thoughts, intentions, and behavior must be aligned. And compassion, establish genuine relationship, develop empathy, don't judge. We are so fast in judging others. Yeah, being compassionate helps me understand accurately what the client is thinking and feeling, not just focusing on my agenda to complete the coaching assignment. And also saying things like, oh, I know how you feel. What a bunch of lies. How can you ever know how another person really feels? And sometimes we use that. I know how you feel. If the person comes back and tell me, Shan, please tell me how I feel, I don't think I'll be able to answer. We can empathize, but sometimes we just use words for the sake of using it. Courage, bringing them out of their comfort zone. Coaching is not everything. For me, if the client is not out of the comfort zone, it's not progressing. And that takes courage for us to bring that. And they might, I've had sessions where the coachee tells me, why are you asking me so many questions? I said, I've already explained to you what coaching is. No, this one, I got all, and I know already, he's already in the fear zone, but slowly I will still continue. It's not all about being nice and nice and nice and nice. That's, for me, in the army, we call it cheap popularity. No, they have paid me to the job, whether it's a paid project or a pro bono project. I love the courage. It's a very difficult conversation. Courage to trust the process and courage to let go of my personal opinion and biasness. Sometimes you're so stuck with our own personal opinions and biasness. This is different from values. If it's against your values, I would walk out, which I've done. Creativity is not all the time sitting down in front, one-on-one, and coaching. We can use so many innovative tools, some of the, if some of you are familiar with some of the process facilitation tools, we can use that. Get them to stand up, ask them to show on the flip chart, sometimes go around in Taiwan, the coaching after lunch, the coaching session was walking around the park near the hotel after lunch. And that was a coaching session. It's not all the time sitting in front of one another and having this formal coaching session, no. And as I say, when you stand up and you start walking, you become more creative because the blood is flowing faster, yeah. Curious. By being curious, I can help the client better understand the actual needs. Curiosity allows me to seek the real meaning behind what is said and to discover what drives the client's behavior. That will translate ideas into action. Being curious will help the client to discover the impact, consequences of their plan action, to understand the story behind the story. Sometimes we are very happy with the front story, but there are a lot of stories behind the stories. Credible. we need to continuously practice our profession. And that's why, I'm always happy and, respect to see what Dr. Mike is doing with MACC as the community of practice. We need to belong to a community of practice because only we understand. Only coaches can understand another coach. And when we get feedback from our peers or our seniors, we know they're coming from a very noble intention. Yeah, and that's why we really, really need to grow this community of practice. Yes, I think I've covered. Yep, I've covered that. Yay. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Dr. Shan. That was really, really very informative for most of us, especially like us who are young coaches, still junior.
Still junior. Yeah, the 5
Yeah.
A's. Thanks. Okay,
Mm.
this is something that my second book, when we practice coaching, enabling processes, and I'm using this Malay and Arabic words, right? When we practice, all right, it has got an impact on our akhlak, our character. Our akhlak has got an impact on our adab. It influences our adab, our mannerism. Yeah, and the adab has got an influence on our adat, our culture in our team and our homes, in our communities. And that has got a influence on our akrab, our friendship. Yeah, and this is what I wrote was the 5 A's and launched it last year at the coaching conference. I said, give the 5 words. I said that, it's Malaysian, Bahasa Malaysia, and it's a gift to the world because I reflected on the masteries, 9 masteries, and how these 5 A's is mapped to the masteries. Thanks, Chang. Thanks, Chang. So, it's about us and how we influence it. Because there's one coaching psychologist, Dr. Michael Kavanagh, and when I was in contact with him, he's from Sydney University. He said this, the quality of any process and a system in an organization depends on the quality of relationship. And the quality of relationship depends on the quality of conversations we are having. And guess what? That is the what, but how? I totally believe that if we have coaching conversation, that will improve our quality of conversation, will then contribute towards the quality of relationship, and that will contribute towards organizational processes and systems, not only in organizations, in family. My dream, at least in Malaysia, is to have a coach in every family, and one of the parents, so that we can develop this wonderful family. Families create wonderful communities, and wonderful communities create a beautiful nation. And this is by having quality conversations, and coaching can help. And one of the things they say, how long coaching is going to last? Is it a new kid on the block and all that? I said, no. And one of the professors from NTU, Professor Dan Hui, from Nanyang Technology, and he was a dean of marketing. He asked me before COVID, we all are friends, and he said, hey, Shan, where is the organization going in this industry 5.0 and all that? And I said, 5.0, I still got to start thinking what is 1.0. But anyway, and I said, the more the high tech we are going, my organization is going the other way around to be focusing on high touch. Then I'm saying that let's embrace high tech, but focus on high touch. The reason is there's a gap growing between human to human conversation, communication. And sometimes I hear people talking and suddenly the person say LOL. I was wondering, oh, they're using SMS language. Not even laughing, but just saying LOL. And I said, that is dangerous. So I have been talking about let's encourage more conversation, more meaningful conversation. And one of the government departments, and I was training, and I was telling that it's great to see government is now taking up coaching. And I said, I'm perfectly okay dengan, the Dato' and all that there. Dato', I perfectly okay dengan konsep-konsep membawa, mengopi. I say it's a wonderful thing because people are talking at least. And when they ask me, oh, is it coaching going to be around for a long? I tell you what, technology can change. We had VUCA, and suddenly now we got Bani. Another few years, somebody is going to bring out another terminology. Technology is going to change. And in the latest facilitators conference, when I was presenting, and I showed a slide, a human colony in Mars. And I said, whether human beings staying in Mars or whether the human beings staying in the moon, humans will be still humans. The challenges as humans in any organization, from Fortune 500 to a small company, the human challenges are the same. And I think we as coaches, we need to encourage this meaningful conversation every time. As I said, let's embrace high tech, but focus on high touch. We need this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Dr. Shan. Okay, so before we end our session tonight, any one of you have any question or you have any insight that you want to share before we end for tonight? Anyone?
Probably I have one question. Yeah.
Okay.
For Dr. Shan, in terms of thank you for the sharing, for the very useful sharing with us, the coach here. But I would just like to ask you in terms of the approach for the team coaching and the individual, applying it with the same competency or the same masteries that you say. Is there any? What are the big differences in terms of the approach?
Okay. No, the being of a coach is the same. The principles of coaching is the same. Again, there's a difference. As you all know, there's a difference between one-on-one coaching, team coaching, group coaching, and sometimes people get it confused with process facilitation, right? So as far as a coach is concerned, when you're coaching a team, normally 7 is a very nice number when you do team coaching, but it's more tiring because you got to be observing and the nuances and everybody, whatever they're saying. We are treating the 7 people as one individual when we are coaching them and moving the whole group forward. The other difference is the time. In a one-on-one coaching, it can be, maximum like 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. In team coaching, the practices it can go to about 2 hours. But the interesting part, Victor, you probably would like to hear this. When I went for my practitioner level with EMCC, and I asked the school that I said, can we incorporate process facilitation methods and approach in team coaching? They said yes. Because the difference between process facilitation and coaching is process facilitation, you have to design the process. In coaching, you don't. You just go there and you be there, right? So then this question about, then how do you then, include process facilitation? So it's all about we equipping ourselves with all the tools. Remember the creativity part of coaching where you can use the flip chart, getting them to write and all that? That's okay. You still don't have to prepare, but you got the tools to bring the team forward. Right? So, and this is where I find that let's do what works for the client. Yeah, and be creative, but be very, very careful in demonstrating the behaviors. Like I'm sure I always say this, facilitation has got nothing to do with learning and development. Yeah, facilitation is all about aligning a team to make decisions. In Malaysia, sometimes you say, I'm a facilitator, they'll ask you, what subject do you teach? Yeah, so we need to be very careful. And that's the reason I go deep into this, because then we need to know what behaviors we are demonstrating. Yeah, so trying to be long answers questions.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you very much. Yeah. Anyone else that you have question or insight to share before we end? Yes? No? Yeah, yeah, Captain Shan say 5 seconds, right? Waiting for 5 seconds. Okay, so if don't have, and then we please if you are convenient, you can on your video, your camera, and then we have for us to have our last group photo before we end our session. Thank you. Okay, so get ready. Okay, one. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Freestyle. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so thank you, Captain Dr. Shan, and thank you for all of you for your participation in today's session on coaching masteries and being as a coach. Remember, coaching is a continuous journey of learning and growth. Let us apply all this insight in our coaching practice, seek feedback, and stay committed to our development. And let us believe together that we can make a significant impact. Thank you to Captain Dr. Shan and all of you once again. Please be reminded that tomorrow we don't have a Zoom session, Zoom training session. We will have on-site one. So please refer to our program flyers and reach out to us if you have any question. So thank you once again and have a great night. See you next time. Thank you. Thank you and
Good night.
goodbye.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you, Dr. Shan. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Dr. Shan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shan.
Thank you. Be blessed.